Bonds that we ran last year, the two bonds. Number one were a lot of the extras that we put on there because there's a couple of competing theories there. One is, we don't have a government in Spanaway in terms of like a city government, so the school district is kind of the hub of the community. So it's an old building. It has on the outside we do a really good job of making it look really well, and our custodian, Miss Barger, does a great job of keeping the inside looking good. But if you really dig deep into this building, we've had 5 floods in 3 years. We had an electrical fire 2 years ago down in the gym lobby where one of the electrical panels melted down and caused a fire. The plumbing is original 1950s plumbing. So I think just overall the entire building needs to be replaced. We're spending a lot of money on upkeep, and we could be using that money to build a new building. So I think it's important for the principal to be out there expressing that we need a new building. I can't speak for the community members to say I do have a lot of pull, but I know that in conversations, they listen to the voice of the principal whose building needs to be replaced. I mean, like you guys have the voice of what the reality is, there's other people who don't understand what the reality is, and having that experience as a principal I think is helpful. But I would say that your guys' voice has more pull than mine does.
How long do you think it would take, if the bond did pass, how long do you think it would take till everything's up and running?
Well, the first building, whatever it is, could be ready, or construction could start in about a year. From the time a bond is passed, there's a bunch of things that have to be done. Including you have to go out in the market and sell bonds. And then you have to go through a process to, you have your engineers, architects, figure out what the exact plans of the building is going to be. And then you have to advertise it, and there's a set process for, the different bidders that come in. And then you figure out which one, and you have to go through, there's just a whole bunch of steps before you actually have the first person on site ready to dig the first pile of dirt. So it takes about a year from the time a bond passes until you can actually start to see the beginning of construction. And that's another reason this thing needs to pass this year, because you're talking several different projects. You can't do them all at the same time because you can only get so much money, so there's no big spike in the tax rate. So you actually have to plan this over a period of years. So even if the bond passes, we're going to be in a race to see if we can build enough schools fast enough to keep up with the student population growth that we're facing. We had a bond in 2001 and a bond in 2006. So between 2006 and we're coming up with 2018, that's a long period of time not to build any more schools, when on average we've been growing 300 kids per year. Now, the last 3 years, we've grown 1,400 kids. That's the equivalent of just about 3 elementary schools, or 2 middle schools, or 1 high school. And we haven't added a new building to the district in over half a dozen years at least. So our capacity is being eaten up. And matter of fact, next year will be okay. A lot of our growth is at the elementary level. We'll have enough room for portables, and we're actually adding 8 portable classrooms to this school district this summer. And so next year will be okay, but the year beyond that, we start to run out of space. And the year beyond that, we are definitely out of space.
How would you describe the condition of our school here and then some of the schools around the district? How long is this one?
That's like a loaded question, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Bethel High School in particular needs, well, it depends on what word you want to use. Some people call it modernization, which sounds like it's kind of fluffy, but basically this building is pretty well worn out. The original building goes back to the 1950s, and it's been added on to over a period of time. Some of it's wooden floor. The area that we were in, it has a wooden floor underneath it. You can hear it creak. So that every few years, the tile or the linoleum on top has to be replaced because it breaks. The building is just worn out. It needs. 1990 was the last time it had modernization done to it. So we're coming up on 3 decades, 30 years. And if you look at your own houses, normally, a house that's 25 to 30 years old needs to have significant modernization done to it. it needs a new roof. I mean, in this climate in particular, if you get 30 years in a roof, you're really pushing the envelope of reality. You need to paint the exterior of a building, once every 15 years or so, just so the siding doesn't start to rot in this climate. At the 30-year interval, your heating and ventilation system probably needs to be replaced because it's worn out, and the new systems are probably far more economically efficient. And in the case of this building, where plumbing is 70 years old, I mean, the pipes are just bad. And then there are other things, the building was never designed for the technology that we have in it now. So the infrastructure for the technology is an add-on. I know the ladies over in the kitchen have a problem. They don't have enough electrical power. They actually have to go back and reset a variety of circuit breakers because they keep popping. Because, again, the building was never designed for the electrical load it currently pulls because of all the modern equipment we have. And frankly, the cost of fixing those things that are basically in the wall, I mean, they're major structural fixes that need to be done. It's cheaper to actually knock the building down and start over again than it is to try to fix this place. So you're actually better off knocking down most of this building and building new. The exception would be, because there's a lot of pride and for good construction reasons, the gym area. That area of the building is really strongly built, a lot of concrete. It's not going to fall over by any stretch of the imagination for a really long period of time. It does need to be updated. I mean, new plumbing and things. But that entire area, which kind of historically is really important to the community, should be retained and just modernized. But the rest of the building, it's actually cheaper to replace it with a new building than it is to try to fix the old building. And some of it goes back to the fact that we're sitting on top of a plywood floor. It just keeps flexing like this. And it's off. It's a little bit off of what you're talking about, but the old Thompson Elementary School and the old Spanaway Junior were built kind of the same way. They had wood floors, at least in parts of the building. And we had a heavyset custodian who actually fell through the floor of Thompson because over a period of time, the wood rots out in our climate. So, long term, that's probably not going to happen here, but this building is not really salvageable from the standpoint of just simply being modernized, and it's cheaper to actually replace most of it. And as far as, and you face this every day, but we have far more students here than this building was ever designed for, even with the additions that were added onto the building. Because of the building, I mean, the custodians take marvelous care of this place. You walk down the hallways, the floor's clean, shiny, lockers are clean. What you've got is clean. The problem is it's worn out, and it's never going to get any better. It's just more time and more failures. A number of years ago, you probably wouldn't have been in the building probably before you got over here, but the main electrical panel over by the gym, it almost smoked itself. I mean, it almost burst into fire.
That's kind of scary.
So there are things about this building that simply just need to be, just replace the whole portions of the building, and hopefully that'll be in the bond. I can't imagine it would not be in